Cheats, God is. We lead, others follows. Bang your head!
Radio. It's like TV without all the colors.
Super 88.1 Billing City.
Station other stations get their music from.
And now it's 10:30 a.m. Good morning. Today's Tuesday, the 2nd of September, 2025. If you've been following me and Super FM closely for the last couple of weeks, you would know what happens around this time. If you've not had the chance to follow, I'm going to catch you up. My name is Joyce, Chuks. You're onto your one family, one radio station, Super 88.1 FM. Welcome to this special radio series on ending female genital mutilation in Edo State. Now, we've been having these series alongside these conversations for a couple of weeks, and they followed a very specific strategic pattern, right from identifying what the harmful effects of FGM is. If you don't know what FGM is, I should probably start there. Female genital mutilation, or better known as female circumcision, or as the International Society calls it, the cut. Now, this would involve the partial or total removal of the external part of the female genital. You see the removal of the part, removal of the clitoris. Sometimes they go as far as removing some parts of the labia. Sometimes they go as far as sewing up the vagina opening, leaving only a side for the woman or the child to urinate. Now, there's been a lot of myths and cultural beliefs surrounding female genital mutilation. High on the list is that it prevents women from being promiscuous, which I find so I don't even know the word to use for it, because I cannot believe that you would have a child, a baby girl who is 1 month, 2 month old, look at her and think about her future sexual life and her sexual partners. It's odd, but it is something that we have seen happen time and time again. And so the good people at the Women's Rights and Health Project, with support from UNICEF Nigeria, created the special radio series to advance on ending female genital mutilation in Edo State. Now, this is an international practice across the globe. However, the highest number of FGM victims / survivors, I said slash in real time, have been from Africa. And even a higher number of those from Africa are from Nigeria. So this is a problem that we need to concern ourselves with. Now, over the last couple of weeks, we've looked at different actors and non-state actors when it comes to female genital mutilation and the kind of roles that they have played. We've looked at religious leaders, where we had a pastor with us in the studio. We've looked at traditional leaders, where we had the Onoje of Igweben and Okaigo of Isanland join us for this conversation. We have spoken to somebody from the Ministry of Health. We have spoken to somebody from the Ministry of Justice. We have spoken to somebody from the Ministry of Gender and Women Affairs. We've had those types of conversations. We've spoken to young people who are concerned about the matter, and we have even spoken to a survivor, which we did last week Thursday. But the reason why we've been able to do all of these conversations is the media. Now, the media has a huge role to play when it comes to female genital mutilation, and today we're going to be doing a deep dive on what the media has done, what the media can do, and what we hope the media will do continuously into the future. Now, I'm not by myself in the studio. We have our liaison person here from RAP. Good morning.
Good morning.
If you can give us a tiny introduction. I know who you are, but let's have the people know who you are.
I'm Chris Nosa.
Okay, Chris Nosa, what do you do? Tell me.
Okay, I'm the M&E officer for Women's Rights and Health Project.
Okay. Fantastic. So how has that been for you?
Yeah, it's been nice. It's been nice gathering data and ensuring that the participants and our partners work together and making the project better for us.
Now, you've been my personal liaison person throughout this show, and you have been fantastic. So, which means that you've partnered with the media thus far. How has this media partnership been for you? Have you been able to record any successes? Are there things that you've noticed or noted during this time?
Okay. The media has so far spread this news of FGM far and wide in Edo State and across Edo State, and it has been so nice collaborating with Super FM so far. And I'll say one part I enjoy was when the presenter told us about a case at Zambia where a child was circumcised and she bled and she passed after the circumcision. So the media has really helped in spreading this news of FGM so far for this past 4 weeks, and it has been great.
Fantastic stuff. Now, I'm a person who works in the media, luckily for me, and I've been in this project right from the start, at least on this station. And there's just a lot of impact that I believe that the media can bring to the reportage of female genital mutilation in Edo State. Now, I don't know if you remember, I think maybe last week or last 2 weeks, I shared my first proper eye-opening situation around female genital mutilation. On that particular day, it was about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, it was the International Day for the Eradication of Female Genital Mutilation, and people from our news crew, because this is a core part of what the news does, went into the city to just feel the pulse of the people about female genital mutilation. And so we had a poll, we interviewed people, asked them their thoughts around female genital mutilation, and we saw an overwhelming number of respondents say that yes, they fully support female genital mutilation. Now, what we did with that reportage is that we used it in two different ways. Now, we used it in our news bulletin to target the people who were focused specifically on news, and then we used it in our women-centered programs. Now, because we are a family radio station, we have a very serious interest in the different family units. So when it comes to women, we have shows that were created specifically for women to address the types of issues that face them. Shows like Mother and Child and shows like Today's Women, both of these shows that I host. So I did pick that report from the news and then used it in one of these shows called Today's Women. And it was just so overwhelming to hear the type of conversation that we had. And that's just how far the media can have a specific type of impact when it comes to ending female genital mutilation, because it was such an eye-opener for many people. I had multiple respondents on the day of that show confirm that, they thought this was a thing of the past. They thought it was something that wasn't happening anymore. They thought that was one of those things that has been overly exaggerated, but they were shocked to hear the voices of women, men, even young people saying that, yes, we do practice female genital mutilation. I was circumcised myself. I circumcised all my daughters. I made sure that all the women, all the young girls in my family got the female circumcision, whether they wanted it or not, and I shall make sure that this practice will continue for as long. But that's not only the one area that I think the media provides impact when it comes to ending female genital mutilation. The media also has things like conscious partnerships, like the one that we are having right now with Rap Nigeria. This is as conscious as it can get for a media partnership. I love the types of conversations that we've been having. It's been 4 weeks now, twice a week, we sat here providing a platform for very important conversations like this to be had. That is how strong media impact can be. And luckily for us, we are in the 21st century. This is 2025. The mass media is not just terrestrial radio or terrestrial television or even cable. The mass media now has a side-by-side with social media. While we have so many uncontrolled information out there on social media, the media serves as a thinking box, a thinking space to make sure that in that sea of misinformation, there is consistent, accurate information on things like female genital mutilation. Now, this is the first time I had a full show on female genital mutilation. I managed to get almost the entirety of content that I required off of YouTube. Now, YouTube went on to provide, through a media platform on YouTube, went on to provide stories and interviews with survivors and victims that we could use in real time, translate that from online to terrestrial broadcasting. I had these clips played, and there's this beauty when you can hear a person's voice, or you can hear from a person that has been affected by what is going on, and you just say, do you know what? Yes, this is real. This is proper information. The people who need to have this information are having this information. So I truly believe that there's been a certain level of high impact that the media has been playing when it comes to reporting on female genital mutilation, especially in Edo State. And I'm just beyond excited that I'm one of the people that can beat my chest and say yes. Even before I came in contact with RAP and the kind of work that RAP is doing alongside UNICEF, I had already been fighting the good fight. I had already been having these types of conversations. So whether there are partnerships existing or not, the media consistently continues to play the role of information, the role of stakeholders engagement, and letting people know what is real and what is not real. Now, of course, when you do things like this, there are days where you just want to pat yourself on the back and say, oh, look at what we're doing. And I think that centers around the types of success stories that we have recorded from the work that the media is doing. For example, I created a short form video content to speak about female genital mutilation sometime last year during the 16 days for advocacy against gender-based violence, and it was so interesting to me that I received multiple respondents, people who claimed that they had to run away from their communities, or people that say, in my community, this is something that happened. I was able to collect that real-time data to know that news stories are not just about numbers. And why did I say news stories are not just about numbers? Let me break it down. That is something I do when I'm broadcasting, and it's really, really important. In the very first episode of this radio series on ending female genital mutilation, I started by saying that according to the last UNICEF data, 230 million girls and women were living with or were survivors of female genital mutilation, that is female circumcision. We came down to find that about within 130 million to 140 million of these women and girls were domiciled here in Africa. And sometimes you look at these and they're just like numbers to you. But if you really think about it, I said if you look at the population of Nigeria as estimated, because it's been a while that we did have our census, so we don't know it down to the T, but we do have some random estimations here and there. I said the number of women who are now living with or have experienced violence of female circumcision, if you could put those people together and put them in one spot, they would look like the population of Nigeria, give or take. I told you to sit back and think deep. How many people on your street do you know for real in real time? How many people in your local government do you know? If you are going to do the math and count how many people you saw in a day, you probably get overwhelmed, especially if you're a person who leaves your house consistently. Now imagine that every single person you saw on the road was a woman or a girl who has gone through the violence on female genital mutilation. Now you see, breaking down conversations like this brings it home for the person who's listening to you, makes it a tad more realistic when you come out of your house and you say, wait, are you telling me that everybody I'm seeing now, if I was to imagine that this was the number of people that have been affected by FGM, it would be this number. It's alarming. But that is the way the media helps to frame our consciousness around this conversation. Chris, you wanted to share something?
Yeah. So far, RAP as an organization believe that engaging the media is crucial in eradicating FGM. We have not only been using just the print media or this traditional media alone. We've been using both the internet. So far, we've been able to reach over 57,000 people online. And later on, I'll share our handles so as the people will get our handles, and so as they can reach us even after the program. Yeah, so
fantastic stuff. And this is just one more beauty of what media can do for you. Imagine reaching 57,000 people. It's a huge number. And like I gave you my last example, sometimes you have to put those types of things in context to let you know just how far reaching. And when it comes to personal successes, let's bring it down to our special radio series. You and I have been doing this radio series for about 4 weeks now. And there's a particular caller who just makes me so excited. Sometimes you have something happen to you in real time that just makes you feel like, yes, I know what I'm doing. We had a caller. He's probably listening right now. He has become a regular on this show. His name is Mr. Obioma. I remember the very first time he called, and he said he was really confused as to why we were talking about female circumcision like it was a bad thing. He said, in my youth, this was very, very common. In fact, it was a huge celebration in where I came from to celebrate the fact that, girls had become women. It was a huge deal. That was his very first call on this show. And then as the show continued to progress, he continued to listen. He continued to follow up. And as at the last time that he called us, he told us that we had been able to successfully convince him not only to allow the consistent practice of female genital mutilation, but to also make himself a foot soldier. Now, he would not be the very first person to ever say this to us on this show. We have received so many messages, whether they're on WhatsApp, whether they are via phone call, of people who seemingly simply did not know the harmful, far-reaching effects of female genital mutilation or female circumcision that have now decided to join in the fight. Another very beautiful success story I think the media can record when it comes to ending or fighting female genital mutilation in Edo State is being a space for the right authorities to have a voice. For example, some people did not know that female genital mutilation was a crime. In fact, some of them did not know that just beyond being a crime as cited by the VAP law, the Edo State herself also has an FGM prohibition law of about 1999 or 2000 that fully outlaws the practice. Here, when we had somebody here from the Ministry of Justice, this person had the time to explain to us that after the Edo State VAP law was ratified here, there is a punishment that was made available for up to 4 years in prison for engaging in female genital mutilation. Now, this is information that I had not come across earlier before this place. But on this space, we had that happen. On this space, we found out that the Ministry of Health were hopeful on having a part of the curriculum for schools affected so that young girls and even young boys, to be very honest, could learn what was female genital mutilation, could know that, oh, this is about to happen to me, this is about to happen to my sibling, and I could probably go and report this to somebody. On this same show, we had the opportunity to speak one-on-one with a survivor of female genital mutilation, and we also heard that in the school where she works, because she was a proprietress, she had also created a program for young girls and would also go from school to school. Now, this person is not even in Benin City, and this is the kind of work that she is doing. And these are just a few of the successes that we have been able to record just on this program, not for the entire impact that the media has been having, but just on this one special radio series. This is just how much the impact the media has been able to make. For creating a platform, here in this studio, I reached about 1.9 million people, and I've been doing so for months now. Imagine if you picked up a megaphone and you came outside of your house and you started speaking into the megaphone. Only the people within the vicinity would hear you. But imagine that you had a megaphone to reach 1.9 million people consistently. How much more impactful would that be? Another success that we have recorded here as a media organization partnering with RAP just on this radio series is that we have found the specific people that we need to speak to. We've had callers that have confirmed that they were practices of female genital mutilation, and it made us realize that yes, we are making the right moves, we are speaking to the right people, and we are touching the lives we want to touch. And honestly, that is as successful as success can get on this particular matter, especially from the media. But of course, we need to understand that I think more can be done. I think there's so much more that the media can do in this situation. Now, I'll be opening the phone lines not too long from now, and you'll be able to share your thoughts on the conversation that we're having. But we are facing some challenges. You know, I keep circling back to this special radio series because you and I have been on this thing together, so you've been following. I remember having a caller that asked me if I was up to 10 years old and why I would preach against female genital mutilation, that I was simply not old enough to have those types of conversations. We also have our very, very, very strong cultural and religious beliefs that stand in our way when we are decimating this type of information. And the problem that the media is facing when it comes to female genital mutilation is the appropriate amount of funds to take these messages to the places that they need to be on. I had somebody tell me one time that, we need to take this message to the villages. And I strongly agreed. So, we need to take it to the rural areas. I mean, thank God for things like radio and TV that can take us to places that we cannot be. But imagine if the media could do one-on-one more campaigns. Imagine if a poll needed to be carried out on how far-reaching or how many families have been affected by this and we want to go to Ubiaja. We need funding for those types of moves. We also have organizations that like to shy away from the media. They don't have enough media engagement. I remember speaking to somebody from both the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Justice on this matter, and the amount of information that was made available to me on this show, And I thought to myself, imagine if you came here every single week. But some of these state and non-state actors do not have a good enough relationship with the media, and some of them are even unwilling to have this relationship with the media, which means that we now have vacuums. We now have spaces where we should have been able to provide more information, but for the sake of poor engagement, we simply couldn't do as much as we would love to. But what kind of recommendations can we see on this matter? I've been rapping all this while. I'm kind of enjoying it, I can't lie. But what can we do? How do we better our reporting principles? How can the media do more? I think the media can do things like survival-centered conversations, like the one that we had last week. Sometimes you need to hear from the horse's mouth. So the media should do more work to engage survivors, to engage victims. And also, when reporting stories around female genital mutilation, I want to see more of focusing on the harm of female genital mutilation, and not just the culture of it, not just the thought around it, not just the practices around it. We need to send the message home of how dangerous it is. Now, the media can also do things like having campaigns to debunk the myths around female genital mutilation, to provide enough evidence. The media can also do the space of mounting pressure on governments if there are places where the VAP law have not been ratified. The media within those spaces should do more to place more pressure on the appropriate authorities to have this law ratified. And there's also something around language and programming. For example, this show is in English, fantastic, but there's probably somebody out there who speaks only Bini. There's somebody out there who speaks only Esa. Somebody out there who is Esako, who simply does not understand the English I'm speaking right now. The media must do more to have this information available in multiple languages. It should be available in Edo language, in Esan language, in Pidgin language, to make sure that you are reaching your audience where you are. And also, the media should not just get stuck on hoping for partnerships where these conversations can be had. You can use as your CSR to do a PSA. The PSA can even be in Pidgin. Auntie, uncle, make you know the cut our girl child, no good. These are not things that you have to wait for UNICEF to come and partner with you for you to do it. These are things that I believe are required of media organizations. Also, we have shows like this that we are having right now. Call-in shows. People feel like, oh, I have a thing to say about this thing. And in real time, we can hear, just from having a call-in show like the one that we've been having for 4 weeks, look at how many stories that we have gathered. See the kind of people that we have met. We have met proof in real time that what we are doing. In fact, do you remember radio dramas back in the day? We used to actually have one on this station called Oga Landlord, where we basically talk about the ills in society, from politics to governance to family life. We can bring back radio dramas, radio skits around female genital mutilation. It might sound a bit comedic, but you are touching people where they are. You are meeting them. Just by how interesting this radio drama or this radio skit is, you have caught attention. The media should also try to cut relationships with relevant stakeholders, whether these stakeholders are NGOs, whether they are government parastatals, whether they are in one public office or the other. If there are people that are going to be relevant to the kind of conversations that you will be having on whatever media platform, cut those relationships, make them available. I had a guest that came in on this show and she was speaking about Chris. When the show was done, she said, I can rest now. Chris, you allowed me to rest, because he took the time to follow up on that connection, because he needed that conversation to happen. So we are not all going to wait for Chris to do it for us as media people. We are going to take the bull by the horn. Now, I have a couple of minutes left on this conversation. I'm going to open the phone lines. Or would you like to add something, Chris?
Okay, you can reach Rap on our handles on our Instagram, Rap Nigeria. That's WRAHP Nigeria. Also at Ireti Resource Center, IRETIRESOURCENTRE. On our Facebook, it's Rap Nigeria, WRAHP Nigeria, NIGRIA. On X, which was formerly Twitter, you reach us on at Rap Nigeria. That's WRAHP NIGERIA. On our LinkedIn, Women's Rights and Health Project. On our YouTube, Rap Nigeria 36. 89.
Speaking of media, that's how you meet them. Now you can call us up and share any comments or thoughts that you've had, whether about the conversation we've had today or the conversations we've been having for the last couple of weeks. The numbers to call are these: 0705 512 9881, 0705 572 7881. We also have 0902 672 2592. Now that last one doubles as a WhatsApp number, so I'll call it again: 0902 672 2592. Now I'm going to push this question to you, Chris. My last and final question for you today. Now, with the engagement that you've had with the media so far, I'd love to know what you hope the media will do more when it comes to partnering with organizations like RAP. But take a moment, let me get this call. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Good morning. Sorry, I never chop. Good morning. Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling me from?
My name is Sugar Boy. From Ghana.
All right, talk to us.
You know, this every time I always say this thing. I thought this was an old practice. Why do people know the year word? People know the year word. Okay, what are fast things the people can come back again? You know the year. They know the year word. Nigeria, they know the year word. Why do they want to just start wanting to stop and go the hard now, just to stop that thing now? Or something between an evil practice, just to say no benefit, nothing. You don't still continue with the practice. I don't know if I want to tell them again.
Thank you so much. He's fed up. It says, how many times do we have to say this thing repeatedly over and over again? Let's see if we can squeeze in one more. 0705 512 9881 and 0902 672 2592. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome. What is your name and where are you calling us from, please?
Emmanuel from Ikobai.
All right, talk to us, Emmanuel.
Yeah, this female genital, this is not good though. They are killing the futures of the young girls. They are killing their future, and it's not good. It's not good.
Thank you so
I
much.
just think they should take, yeah.
All right, thank you so much. We've got OZ from Bypass. OZ says, give this guy a flower. This I swear, this talk enter me. You're the best. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome. What's your name and where are you calling us from, please?
Chuks, I'm on Bible. I'm calling from Sampler Road at the moment.
Happy to have you on the show. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. I honestly want to thank the organizer and the convener of this show. Honestly, I have learned a lot ever since I have learned about this show. Ordinarily, I don't know why we kept on with this genital mutilation practices over the years. And honestly, they sold the wrong information to us that subconsciously I believe it is the right thing, that it will keep people from being promiscuous. I never knew it was doing them more harm than good. After the last time when I got home, I was just telling my wife, look, we are not going to do any of that practice to our children. It was like, yes, it's the correct thing now. I was not even circumcised. So I was saying, really? Is that so? It was beating my imagination to the extent that my grandma was just discussing it with her. It was telling me the side effect of it, that it is not proper. I was like, if you have this knowledge of telling me it is not proper, why is it that we, young generation, we don't even know this and we keep on with the practice of this genital mutilation?
It's sad.
I want to commend you people again for this and to just keep it up.
Thank you so much.
There was one statistic you gave the other day that if you can convince the men not to, it will go a long way in stopping all of this. I think the men that's where the boss stop. It's their table. Let's just keep doing it. Of course, they will help the family not to go on with this practice.
Amen. Thank you so much. Good morning. Now, this special radio series on ending female genital mutilation was brought to you by the Women's Right and Health Project, with support from UNICEF Nigeria. So let's assume that you know where something like this is happening, or there's something you want to bring to the fore for the people of RAP to be involved. The numbers to reach them at is 0701 194 8577 or 0913 520 51.